Okay, so first thing you have to do is count how many of each type of atom you have on each side. I like to keep a running list that I can change. So I can see that there's carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen on each side. Okay, so now if I count, I can see that I have 2 carbons, I have 7 hydrogens, 1 nitrogen, 2 oxygens. Over here I have 1 carbon, 2 hydrogens, 1 nitrogen, and then I have oxygen in 3 places. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of the keys here is you have to try and get things to even numbers for the most part, because it looks like we have mostly subscripts that are even. So we're going to try and work on that. So I'm going to start by looking at carbon here and say, okay, well, what can I do to make this side 2? So if I do a coefficient of 2, that changes my carbon over here to be 2. And it gives me 4 oxygens. So that would be 4, 5, 6, 7 oxygens altogether. All right. Okay, so now hydrogens, if you look at hydrogens, we got some funny things happening here because we have an even on this side, and the only way we can make it even, or make it, only number we can get is even, because we're going to be multiplying by 2. So over here we have 7, so we're going to have to make it an even number. So we can try 2, and that's going to give us 4 carbons, 14 hydrogens, 2 nitrogens, and it doesn't affect the oxygen. So now if we look here, now we have 4 carbons here, we have only 2 here. So let's try and balance that. So if I make this 4, then I can say, okay, well, that's 4 carbons. Now I'm up to 8, 9, 10, 11 oxygens. You just have to keep kind of going back and forth and seeing what you can change. So if I wanted to make this 14, then I can make this coefficient 7, and that'll give me 14 hydrogens, and change the oxygens to be 8 plus 7 is 15, plus 2 more is 17. Now we have a problem because this is odd, and the only way we can get it to equal on this side with the coefficient is going to have to multiply by 2. So we're going to have to figure out what to do on this side to give us an even number so I can balance it on this side. So let's look at nitrogen. We can balance that and then see what that does to us. So if we give this a 2 for the coefficient, that'll give me 2 nitrogens. 4 plus 7 oxygen is 11, plus 8 more gives us 19. So still odd, which I expected. So we're gonna have to do something a little bit drastic. So what I'm gonna try over here, if I make this a 3, because this is my other funny odd number. So if I make this a 3, that's gonna make this 21, which is gonna make that an odd number, which I don't wanna do. So I'm gonna make this big. I'm gonna make this coefficient a 4. So now that changes my carbon here to be 8. It changes my hydrogen to be 7 times 4 gives me 28. My nitrogen is going to be just the 4. And then oxygen's 2. Now over on this side, let's try and balance that. So if I want this to be 8, then my coefficient has to be 8. Sorry, I ran out of space. So I would have 8 carbons there. I'm going to skip oxygens for now. That still gives me 14 hydrogens, but now I want to get to 28. So if I make this a 14 instead, then I can do 14 times 2, and that'll give me 28. Nitrogens, I need to make 4. So let's see, if I change this to a 4, then 4 times 1 gives me 4 nitrogens. Now how many oxygens do I have altogether here? I have 16 there, I have 14 there, and I have 8 here. So that's going to give me an even number, which is what I want. Wait, that's 10, 18, carry the 1, so that'll give me 38. Did I count that right? 16 plus 14 plus 8. Okay, so now to get 38 over on this side, I need to just put a coefficient that's gonna make 38. So half of 38 is 15 plus 4 would be 19. So if I give this a coefficient of 19, 19 times 2 gives me 38, and that should balance me out. Because over here, I have 38 too, and I have 8, 28, 4, 38. So you just kind of have to keep bouncing back and forth until you find a number that's even. You can always go extra big and then bring it down if you need to. So this coefficient was 4. This coefficient was 19. This coefficient was 8. This one was 14. And this one was 4.